Salah, Zakat, Saum, Hajj.
And do you know what these mean?
Testimony of faith, prayer, charity, fasting, pilgrimage.
دستورنا القرآن وديننا الإسلام أركانه الجليلة دعائم الفضيلة ويا الشهادتان كعيدة إيمان وصوم والصلاة وحج والزكاة. Our guide is the Quran, our religion is Islam.
Hello?
5 noble pillars upholding what is virtuous. To make the testimony is the basis of the faith, and the fast and the prayer, the pilgrimage and charity. دستورنا القرآن وديننا الإسلام أركانه الجليلة دعائم الفضيلة ويا الشهادتان كعيدة الإيمان وصوم والصلاة وحج والزكاة. Our guide is the Quran, our religion is Islam. 5 noble pillars upholding what is virtuous. To make the testimony is the base of the faith, and the fast and the prayer, the pilgrimage and charity. To make the testimony is the base of the faith, and the fast and the prayer, the pilgrimage and charity.
All Muslims have to do 5 things. Who knows what they are?
Shahada, Salah, Zakat, Saum, Hajj.
And do you know what these mean?
Testimony of faith, prayer, charity, fasting, pilgrimage.
دستورنا القرآن وديننا الإسلام أركانه الجليلة دعائم الفضيلة ويا الشهادتان كعيدة إيمان وصوم والصلاة وحج والزكاة. Our guide is the Quran, our religion is Islam. 5 noble pillars upholding what is virtuous. To make the testimony is the basis of the faith, and the fast and the prayer, the pilgrimage and charity. دستورنا القرآن وديننا الإسلام أركانه الجليلة دعائم الفضيلة ويا الشهادتان كعيدة الإيمان وصوم والصلاة وحج والزكاة. Our guide is the Quran, our religion is Islam. 5 noble pillars upholding what is...
Oh, you know. I was trying to see if I can share Islam. Now I will share Islam.
Muslims have to do 5 things. Who knows what they are?
Shahada, Salah, Zakat, Saum, Hajj.
And do you know what these mean?
Testimony of faith, prayer, charity, fasting, pilgrimage.
دستورنا القرآن وديننا الإسلام أركانه جليلة دعائم الفضيلة ويا الشهادتان كعيدة إيمان والصوم والصلاة وحج والزكاة. Our guide is the Quran, our religion is Islam. 5 noble pillars upholding what is virtuous. To make the testimony is the basis of the faith, and the fast and the prayer, the pilgrimage and charity. دستورنا القرآن وديننا الإسلام أركانه جليلة دعائم الفضيلة ويا الشهادتان كعيدة الإيمان والصوم والصلاة وحج والزكاة. Our guide is the Quran, our religion is Islam. 5 noble pillars upholding what is virtuous. To make the testimony is the basis of the faith, and the fast and the prayer, the pilgrimage and charity. To make the
See proof.
All Muslims have to do 5 things. Who knows what they are?
Shahada, Salah, Zakat, Saum, Hajj.
And do you know what these mean?
Testimony of faith, prayer, charity, fasting, pilgrimage.
دستورنا القرآن وديننا الإسلام أركانه جليلة دعائم الفضيلة ويا الشهادتان كعيدة إيمان والصوم والصلاة وحج والزكاة. Our guide is the Quran, our religion is Islam. 5 noble pillars upholding what is virtuous. To make the testimony is the basis of the faith, and the fast and the prayer, the pilgrimage and charity. دستورنا القرآن وديننا الإسلام أركانه جليلة دعائم الفضيلة ويا الشهادتان كعيدة الإيمان والصوم والصلاة وحج والزكاة. Our guide is the Quran, our religion is Islam. 5 noble pillars upholding what is virtuous. To make the testimony is the base of the faith and the fast.
Okay, unmute me.
Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullah.
I'm shine light on my face.
Assalamu alaikum. I can see you, Sister Aisha. Assalamu alaikum.
Wa alaikum salam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
Can you see me, Sister Aisha? Good.
Yes, I can see you now, Sister
I
Hidayah.
think
Good morning.
I'm on now.
Assalamu alaikum.
Good morning. Wa alaikum salam. How are you?
Alhamdulillah. So,
Alhamdulillah.
أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم ربي اشرح لي صدري ويسر أمري وعقدة من لساني يفقهوا قولي. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. I am Aishat Adaviruku. I'm a Master Neuro-Linguistic Programming Trainer, and it's a pleasure to have you here today to discuss the topic, who should be blamed for women expulsion in Ramadan. So, dear Muslim sisters, are you ready? We expect you to call in and share your views, and it's going to be a very light discussion, an interesting one,
Inshallah.
with my co-host, Sister Hidayah. Sister Hidayah, please
Yes, assalamu
welcome
alaikum.
our guest. Alaikum salam
Assalamu
wa
alaikum
rahmatullahi
wa
wa barakatuh.
rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. My name is Hidayah Balogun-Durojaiye. I'm a child nutrition consultant and a public health personnel. And of course, today we're here to discuss who's to blame for all of the exhaustion that happens to us women during Ramadan. Inshallah, I look forward to having a very interesting conversation with you, Sister Aisha.
Yeah, and all our call-ins, right? We
Yes.
expect our sisters to call in to contribute.
Yes,
It's
inshallah.
going to be a highly interactive session. Thank you very much. So, Sister Hidayah, shoot, please.
Naam?
Shoot.
Okay. Okay, yeah. From my own perspective, if I was going to make a choice, I would say that the society, because if we look at it, in the society, while a girl is growing up, she's seeing her mother doing all of the cooking and all of the feasting, preparation for this, making sure that everybody gets enough food. Sometimes she even does this at the detriment of her own sahur and iftar, or at the detriment of her own tilawat Quran, things like that. So we see all of this happen. And so when we grow up and we have our own families, or maybe we get married, things like that, and we subconsciously want to replicate these things that we have seen in the society happen over and over again. So we just get into this mood of running all about the place during Ramadan. We have this feeling that it is what we should do, because that's what we have seen happen over and over again. So if I was just going to, from the top of my head, who is to blame, I will take the society. I'll take the society. It's just
Interesting.
because that's what we see.
Okay. So thank you for that very succinct contribution. I am going to share a story.
Okay.
And the story is about an elephant.
Mashallah.
Have you ever heard of the ties that bind?
Yeah.
It's a metaphor that's about the elephant. When the baby elephant is still, the handlers of the baby elephant, they have this rope they tie around the leg of the baby elephant to keep the baby elephant captive.
Yeah.
Now, when that elephant grows up and becomes, a father elephant or mother elephant, as the case may be.
Exactly.
Yeah. that elephant stops trying to escape that rope. Because when the baby elephant was trying to escape that rope, the baby elephant didn't have the strength.
Exactly.
So now, when the elephant is grown enough, the elephant now has the mindset that that rope binds him or her or it, as the case may be. So now, it's now a question of if the society has contributed to all we have become as Muslim women today. The world is progressing. While there are various influences, if we're coming from the neuro-linguistic programming perspective, what shapes an individual, the adult individual, are what we call the internal filters. The internal filters consist of the upbringing, the significant emotional experiences that the individual experienced while growing up. In the case of the elephant, we would say the rope was a significant emotional experience for the elephant because the elephant couldn't escape that rope. And then we have the environment and education. So these factors shape the individual, the now adult individual. Because think about it, if you look at things around you, if you perceive sense around you, if you feel things around you, if you take some drinks, it reminds you of things that have happened in the past. Those are billions and billions of data you have. That so we are bigger than computers, we're bigger than anything you can imagine. Now, as an adult individual, the computer has their own capacity, but Alhamdulillah, Allah has made us limitless when it comes to our storage capacity. We can store all the memories that we've paid attention to right from when we came into conscious awareness till date. So it is important for us to know that that time now as an adult, just like Sister Hidayah said, it may be an influence for us, but we can actually shake it off and start to take responsibility.
Exactly, Sister Aisha. And I would like to say something personal too, in light of what you have said, considering the fact that all of this affects us while we are growing up and we should try to shake it off now. Yes, like you have said, it sounds quite easy, but for me, it happened to me in such a way that I didn't even realize that I was in this spot, that I was extremely exhausted because of this skewed priority list that I had in my head. Because for me, yes, I grew up watching my mom do all of this, and it got to a stage even while I was still living with my family that I took over and I will do most of the cooking for the sahur and the iftar, while others are even in tahajjud. I'll just do a quick 2 rakah and I'll get up and put everything together for the family. So I did this until I grew and I got married and I moved out of the house. I continued to do this. I didn't realize that my priority list was wrong during Ramadan because I could still handle it as far as I was concerned. Then it so happened that I gave birth to a set of quadruplets as my first set of children.
MashaAllah.
And then at this time, at this time, you would expect that I will take a step back and try to restructure my Ramadan, right? But no, I didn't, because I didn't even realize that I was doing it wrong. Ramadan came and I went into the feasting, preparing for the feast mode and all that, and this exhaustion just hits me square. And I was pushing myself and trying so hard. And you know how it is with children. You have to take care of the children. Now, that one is not negotiable. Now, this part that I could have adjusted, I didn't, because I didn't even realize that I had to do it. So I kept pushing. And then I got really exhausted. I went into the zombie mode. Like I am up, I'm making sure I make food, making sure I do this. I was exhausted throughout Ramadan. I went ahead to do this throughout the first Ramadan I had with my kids when they were toddlers. Then I moved to the second Ramadan, and it got to a stage that I was dreading the month of Ramadan. And I was afraid, I would be like, oh my God, Ramadan is coming again. The exhaustion is coming. I still didn't realize that this thing that I was doing was what I was supposed to work on and adjust. So this could be happening to a lot of us Muslim women. We don't even realize that this is what we are doing and this is what we should change. We have this feeling that this is the normal. So I should adjust every other thing. But this normal for me as a Muslim woman should always happen. This is why I'm really happy that we're having this conversation. I would love to hear from others. I would love to hear from other Muslim men and women if we could have some men online. But I'm sure we're going to be having mostly women. I would love to hear from them. I want to hear women accept the fact that we need to relearn and unlearn some things that we have had imbibed in our memory from the past, from our past relationships and from our past experiences. I really wish we could have, but for me, I had it the very hard way, and still I didn't realize that I needed to do this until finally, I think I had like 2 Ramadans before it hits me that no, Hidayah, you can't continue doing this. Something's wrong. It even got to the stage that I started feeling like I wasn't living up to the expectation as a Muslim woman. I wasn't living up to the expectation of what I was expected to do. You're supposed to make proper iftar, and there are a lot of WhatsApp groups that come up during Ramadan teaching you how to make the best meals, teaching you how to make a variety of meals and 3-course meals and things like that. And you're seeing all of this around you. And you're thinking, oh my God, everybody else is doing this. Why can't I keep up? Why can't I keep up? Something must be wrong with me. Everybody is doing this. Everybody has kids too, and they're doing this. Why am I not keeping up? Something must be wrong with me. I am the one getting it wrong. So it took like 2 or 3 Ramadans before I sat down and I felt, oh my God, no, this is where I am getting it wrong. Ramadan should not even be a month where there should be excessive feasting. Ramadan should be that month where we eat less, we pray more, we develop this, we improve our relationship with the Quran and with Allah, So Ramadan should be this month. So why am I focusing so much on feasting? This is doing the exact opposite of what I'm supposed to be doing. So it took me a while to realize this. So this is something that we should, this is something we should adjust, yes. And we have a few days to Ramadan. It's enough time for us to think this through and work towards making it right in ways that, that we can handle, inshallah.
Thank you, Sister Hidayah, for that very, intimate expo into your own journey. And with this, I'm going to share another story. And the story is about a painting I drew yesterday. Yes. So the title of the painting is The Keys to My Dreams.
Mashallah.
Right? And I'm going to show you what it is. Okay, so just a moment, it's coming up. So basically, the keys to my dreams is the key to how we can empower the self for that very dream we aspire to. Sister Hidayah stated something while she was speaking. She said, it is our ability to unlearn and relearn those things that are not serving us that causes us to grow. So I want our listeners to reflect deeply and understand that whatever we share here today are keys to how we can empower ourselves rather than disempower ourselves and gain the full benefits in Ramadan. The essence of Ramadan is for us to understand the pain of those who are hungry, and if we now turn it into a feast, then there is a problem.
Yeah.
You see
Exactly.
people sharing the latest recipes, cooking up a storm, and they are about like 10 courses in a family.
Exactly.
So we lost the essence if we do this. Sister Ida, can you see the painting?
No, not yet. I can't see it yet. I can still see
Okay,
you.
so maybe it's not sharing yet, but basically, the most important part is you should have this idea of the keys in mind when you approach this year's Ramadan. Okay, so when you approach, the admin said I cannot share the screen, so it's fine, but you
Okay.
have an idea of what I'm talking about. So you should have, this in mind when you approach this year's Ramadan, so that you understand at a deeper level that Ramadan is a spiritual exercise, and we should take it as such. It goes
Exactly.
beyond, cooking the latest dishes. So whatever keys you
Exactly.
take from here today, it is said that the illiterate of the 21st century is that person. Is not that person who can neither read nor write, but it's that person who cannot unlearn and relearn new things. While we
Mashallah.
gain rewards for the ibadah of cooking for our family, we're going to also
Yeah.
share tips for more effective ways to do that, rather than exhaust ourselves and then not have the
Ourselves.
strength to do what we are actually supposed to be doing in Ramadan, which is,
Doing. Exactly.
enhancing our spiritual connection to Allah.
Exactly.
Thank you.
Yeah. Exactly. Yeah. And another thing that I would like to point out is that all of these issues of women being exhausted during Ramadan, at the end of the day, a woman is trying to make sure that she makes her family comfortable during this month. She might do it excessively, such that she loses herself. But at the end of the day, the intention, which is quite important, regardless of whatever deed you are doing, the intention that is right is important. So if you are trying to, if you, like Sister Aisha said, if you are taking the keys, as in adjusting on learning and all of that, you should make sure to carry your family along, because this is a family that you have been with, and you have subconsciously put it in their mind that I am the one that is in charge of cooking you a storm throughout this month. So just relax and enjoy yourself. And then maybe after you watch this program and after you talk to a lot of other Muslim sisters, you realize that, okay, we are going through all of this and it's really exhausting. We should adjust it. And Ramadan is here, and your family are expecting you to make the most sumptuous sahur and all of that. And you bring something quite simple. This could be like a shock, and they're feeling like, oh my God, what's wrong with mommy? As in, is something wrong? Nothing is wrong. But if you need to make them understand this, you have to have this conversation before Ramadan with your family members. After you have understood it yourself and you know that this is something you want to do, you have to carry your family members along. If not, you might get to a stage that you start to feel guilty, and then you might start to adjust. Like, okay, let me just do something else for these few days, maybe, so that at least they would feel like I am still that old self. I still want to, give them the best, like I always do. So instead of you to have to go back and forth to try to make your family members feel the old you again, it's best that you have this discussion before Ramadan. Carry them along, let them understand the fact that you're struggling. They might not see it as this, if you would even realize, Sister Aisha, whenever you see a pictorial representation of a family in Ramadan, it's mostly the mom is cooking, trying to get everybody to sit and have this sumptuous spread out of food and all of that. And the other family members are maybe getting ready to break their fast or making dua, doing every other stuff apart from cooking. The female or the mother, the female figure, like the older female figure in the house, is usually pictorically, shown as the one that is in charge of the food. So this is all around us. That is why I say the society plays a huge role. It's all around us, and subconsciously it gets to us. So if we are going to adjust all of this, maybe from this Ramadan, it's better that we carry everybody in the family along. You understand? So that at least when this is happening, you have people around you that are helping you. People that have not considered that they should help you, they are helping you, they are giving you a hand, they are being quite understanding. If you say, I can't do this, this, and this, like I know you would love to have, but instead I'll make a simple meal because I need to complete this verse of the Quran that I am trying to study. This will really help them in adjusting. Unlearning and relearning should not start and end with us Muslim women that is directly affected by this. It should be something that the whole family should be a part of. I hope you understand where I'm coming from, Sister Aisha.
Of course, I do. It was when I conducted the poll for this discussion. Yes. Some of these, suggestions, which I already, put down as my own point of discourse, came up from the participants. So we have a sister right now. Wa alaikum salam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Thank you very much for joining us. If you have contributions, please share them. You can also call in via the number on the screen right now. It is our pleasure to have you join us. So the topic of discussion remains that who should be blamed for women exhaustion in Ramadan? And the options there are herself, her family, or the society. And interestingly enough, one of my respondents said that he wanted an option of her husband, that he could have chosen
her husband. Mashallah, that's true. That's true.
And I had about 37 responses to that poll for this very question. And the majority response that came back was herself. And there were a lot of reasons, put forward by the respondents for holding the woman culpable for, her exhaustion. It ranged from she should, assign age-appropriate tasks to her family members. A 10-year-old can, quickly wash the dishes, dice the vegetables, and what have you. And then she should also, discuss with her husband so that he knows that if he is unaware of, the fact that our Prophet Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam used to help his family at home, she should remind him. And then she should be emotionally intelligent, just like her sister Hidayah said, to prioritize her task. Of course, we understand the influences that have shaped her into the person she is today.
Exactly.
Now, as an adult woman, it is her responsibility to ensure that she handles her challenges by, bringing up solutions, like we have some of the solutions we have just stated now, to checking exhaustion so that she doesn't get exhausted and she also has enough time, because it goes beyond exhaustion. We should even be focusing on what she's neglecting.
Exactly. Yes.
By not getting her priorities right. She's now focused on, performing her wifely duties, and she may forget her first duty, her purpose on earth, which is to worship Allah. Yeah. So Allah has said that He has created men and jinns to worship Him. While we agree that whatever sacrifices she makes for her family, if she purifies her intention for it, to do it for the sake of Allah, she will still get reward for it. It is also important for her to grow her spiritual connection to Allah in Ramadan
Exactly.
and beyond, and take this practice beyond Ramadan. Thank you, Sister Ida, and our listeners.
Yes.
I hope you are enjoying the panel session, and
I hope so.
we also encourage you to call in with your views so we can hear from you, and the audience can also learn from your contributions.
Exactly. So the last statement you said, that's yes, that was really, this is really important when you said that you get reward during Ramadan and even beyond for taking care of your family, but we should just learn to balance it. Yes, this is really true because some women might justify their actions by saying that I am doing this with a good intention because I want, and after all, I am going to get reward. I'm feeding my family. I'm feeding my family during Ramadan, and I'm going to get massive reward from this. So I will just keep at it. But what we should try to understand is that, first off, like you said, it's our duty to worship Allah first before we even try to satisfy our families and things like that. And the thing is, we should look at it from this perspective. Every good deed, every good intention that you do during the month of Ramadan, a lot of people say, after all, during the month of Ramadan, rewards are multiplied multiple fold. So why don't I just cook and work and be there for my family and get reward in multiple fold? What we don't understand, what we should try to understand is every good deed that you do, every good intention that you have, the reward is multiplied in multiple folds. So you read your Quran, you develop your relationship with Allah, the reward is multiplied in multiple folds. You give out charity, you do a lot of other things, the reward is multiplied. You teach your children to recite the Quran. Presently, my quadruplets are 4 years old, and I am teaching them to say their salah, and it's such a beautiful experience. In Ramadan, the reward is multiplied in multiple folds. So there are a lot of things that you can do with your family that doesn't have to involve you on your feet around food and getting extremely exhausted at the end of the day. There's a lot of things that you can do with the family. If you feel that you want to have this private time with your family and you want to use your family to get multiple rewards from Allah, mashallah, it's a beautiful thing. But there are a lot of things that you can do. You can recite you recite Quran with your children. Wa alaikum salam.
Alaikum salam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
Yeah, mashallah, I love the discussion. Barakallah, sisters.
Big barakallah.
The woman is to be blamed. She has herself to blame for any exhaustion. That is my belief. Because you have to plan for your Ramadan, irrespective of your family or the society. If the family weighs you down, it's your fault. And if the family weighs you down, it's because you didn't plan for Ramadan. That's my submission. This is what I calling from Lagos. Thank you.
Thank you, sis. I didn't get your name.
I didn't get her name too.
Okay, so thank you very much for your contribution. Like she said, some of the respondents also talk about planning, cooking soups in bulk, cooking, even if you are in an area, maybe a rural area where you don't have refrigerators or your light, your electricity supply is not steady, you should cook simple dishes. Because the essence of Ramadan is actually simplicity and understanding the challenges of the poor, the very poor. So we have another question by Sister Zainab. And her question is, what about families that still believe in the old version that the family is foremost while the wife is back end? Okay, so Sister Hidayah, share your views so I can share mine too on this very important question.
Okay. Yeah, like I said earlier, first off, the wife herself, just like our last caller said, that we should call the wife out. The wife should be blamed. She's in charge of her life, and whatever she does with it, she will stand in front of Allah and be judged by it. So if a woman decides that this is what I want to do, this is how I want to adjust, and these are the things I have not been able to achieve in the past, and I want to achieve it now, she has to first off start by carrying her family along. Have the conversations that matter with your family members. Let them understand how you're struggling and why you need to make this adjustment. Just don't dump it on them. So from Sister Zainab's question, where she says, what happens in families that believe that the entire family, the rest of the family are come first, and the mother or the wife comes behind. This mother that is behind should do her best to let the rest of the family understand. Wa alaikum salam.
Wa alaikum salam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
Alhamdulillah Rabbil Alameen. May Allah make it easy for us to witness these days of Ramadan and many more ahead. My quick contribution to the conversation, I think everything has to do with women ourselves. It depends on the kind of structure we run in our various homes. I say that because for me, in my home, for instance, the job of cooking, the house call, and other things in the house is not meant for the female in the house alone. And despite the fact that I happen to be the only female at home, I have kids who are all boys, and it does not mean that because they are boys, the kitchen activity is forbidden for them. No. Sometimes I even choose to be on my bed and allow them to do all the cooking. I just tell them, please go
Mashallah.
as well. Go there and get the food ready. And I'm waiting. And my first son is just 14 and a half, going to 16 years old. The next is 12 years old. The two of them take care of the kitchen. They man the kitchen and get the food set. So it depends on just to ease myself of, the stress of every time I have to be the one, budging myself with cooking activities and still doing other things. So this is not restricted to outside Ramadan alone. So far as I've always engaged them, to do some of these things with me. During Ramadan, they also join me. Sometimes I need them to do it. While they are doing that, I'm also, using my time for some religious or spiritual activities so that I don't get exhausted or bored with only cooking, dishes, doing super smoothie and all that. No. So irrespective of the activities or whatever we have around us, we should try as much as possible to engage our kids. Likewise, my husband, he doesn't even see himself as the man in the house has given everything for me. Sometimes when I ask the kids to do something in the kitchen, he tells them they are being lazy about it or they are being slow about it. So he just says, okay, excuse me, let me do it for you. Why I'm doing other things. And for some women or some sisters that their kids are still young, we can always try as much as possible to seek the understanding of our husband. If we don't have house help or we don't have any other people around us that is helping us, there is need for us to prepare the mind of our husband. Our spouse needs to realize that they need to be with us. They need to be our pillar in all aspects of our lives, not only the financial backbone or the when Allah says that Rijalu Kawamuna and they are being Rijalu for us. It's not only just providing us the financial needs or other resources that we have at home. They have to be there for us.
Okay, thank you very much, Sister Rahima.
Societal activities that we see as women's duty. Who assign those duties to women? I've had the call to ask that question, on several occasions that who is the person or where is it written in the Quran or anywhere that compulsorily it is the woman that will sweep, it is the woman that will do the cooking.
Thank you very much, Sister Rahima.
Of balancing things and let our husband realize the need for them to be with us and assist us in some of these things so that we don't just get overwhelmed and get exhausted.
Thank you so much, Sister Rahima. Thank you.
So for those that
Yes, thank you.
So that was a very interesting contribution from Sister Rahima.
Yeah.
Thank you very much for calling in. And of course, and culturally, it is generally accepted that in this part of the world, the woman is the, majorly
One
the
in
home
charge.
builder. Now,
Exactly.
that doesn't mean that the man is not a stakeholder. He's like the assistant, when it comes to
Exactly.
home affairs.
Okay,
Okay,
Sister
so
Mujida.
thank you very much. We have another question or comment. It says that I don't think we should ordinarily blame the wife or mother. If the husband is the one who understands the deen and his responsibilities, he should ordinarily be willing and prepared to ensure the wife is not overwhelmed by the task that comes with Ramadan. If she sees that her husband is supporting, she'll feel more at ease to do other beneficial activities, which of course will include involving the kids in reasonable activities too. Thank you, Sister Mujidat, for that contribution. This for, our Muslim men. This message is directly at them. Sister Hidayah, what do you think?
Well, I am very big on communication in the home. I'm very big on communication. And sometimes you'd be very surprised that some men would actually be open to helping their wives to easily get things done during Ramadan. But sometimes, when you come with this attitude like, I'm fine, I can handle it, some people might just step back and feel that it's no big deal, that she's okay. Because we are having this conversation now. That's why we're having a lot of people come up with us and open up and say, okay, this happens, I get exhausted and things like that. You might be surprised that this mother or wife or the female figure at home might just carry on with the feel of exhaustion and everything, just carry on and not even talk about it. So the men in her lives might not even realize that she is really struggling and they should help her, During Ramadan, everybody is kind of having this personal relationship with Allah. And you'll be surprised that people don't even realize that you're going through something. So I am still very big on communication. And I feel that a woman should open up and just speak about these things. It could be just a statement that can trigger a lot more, conversation around the whole topic. I really am exhausted. I think I should adjust some things. What do you think? I think maybe, that kind of thing. Start this conversation with them and let them understand that you're going through a lot and you need to let go of some duties or get help, or that kind of thing. So yes, some men might be really open to helping, but if you don't ask, some people might just feel that you're okay.
Yeah, thank you very much, Sister Hidayah. You hit the nail on the head, because when it comes to interpersonal relationships, language is the only powerful element that we interact with the world around us by. And language consists of the words we say, the tone which we say them, and our body language. If we're not using this effectively, there may be, a breakdown in communication. So it starts with you. Whatever you're going through right now, you have to find the best way to express it. I would encourage you to study non-violent communication. It is an effective framework. There was a time one of my clients came to me and she was like, I'm trying to get my husband to give me money for, an important thing for myself, but he's not giving me. And I said, how do you tell him? The way she was requesting for the money was, she goes like, I saw you transfer that 100,000 to that your friend, and I've been asking you for 200,000 since you didn't give me. And I have to reframe it for her. I have to do a reframe for her. I actually did the text message myself and sent it to her, to forward to her husband. Like 15 minutes later, she's shouting down the phone.
Mashallah.
To me.
Mashallah. You can imagine. Mashallah. Oh my God. Exactly.
The way we actually request for things is important. If you want to make yourself feel heard, a reasonable man would listen. There's this neuro-linguistic preposition that says the response to your what you say, the meaning of your conversation, the response is what you actually mean. Because the way you frame what you want to, how you actually frame your questions to get the kind of responses you need. Should be healthy boundaries, even between spouses, of how you then how do you express yourself to feel heard. How do you express yourself when you have a need? Like Sister Hidayah was saying, I feel exhausted. You have not said anything.
Sister Aisha, I can't hear you. I can't see you anymore. But we have something from Sister Mistura here. She says, I agree with Sister Aisha. Communication is key. Some people grow up with a particular mindset and feels everyone is okay by having it. Having a good support system is paramount. Also, sisters, let's train our children to understand this so the circle doesn't continue. Exactly. Sister Aisha, are you back? Hello, Sister Aisha. Yes, I totally agree with Sister Mistura Badru. Exactly. We should start to imbibe in our children, our male children most especially. You know, like myself, I said earlier that I have a set of quadruplets. Among my children, I have 3 boys and 1 girl. So you can just imagine if I was to, they're 4 years old now, and if they grow up and they're old enough to help in the kitchen, and I only use the girl in the kitchen, and all of the time I call her to come help me in the kitchen, of course she's going to grow up exhausted most of the time because she's the only girl among them. So they're going to have this thing, they're going to have this mindset that because she's a girl, she has to be the one in the kitchen all the time. I'm not home, of course, they expect her to do the dishes. I'm not around, they expect her to do the cooking. And during Ramadan, of course, by default, they expect her to be in charge of the cooking. So yes, I'm also of the opinion that we should carry our children along on this issue. It is really important. Male and female children, the girls should understand that it is okay for them to ask their brothers to do things for them in the kitchen. It's okay for them to let their brothers do the cooking. Because of the fact that they're a girl, it's not a reason enough that they spend the whole day in the kitchen. It's okay to have the boys make the meals, wash the dishes while you sit and raise your leg and rest. Things like that. When we do this, the boys are okay with doing this. The girls are okay with letting them do it, because some individuals in our society would tell you, even as a mother raising boys and letting them go to the kitchen, that don't you know they're boys? Some older women will tell you, don't you know they're boys? Why are you allowing them to go to the kitchen? See their sister sitting down and doing nothing. So this is something that we should teach them and let them understand that we should do this. We should let them, the girls should be okay with letting the boys go to the kitchen for them. And the boys should be okay with doing this too. This is something that is natural. It should come natural to them. This is not something that should happen like it shouldn't be. It shouldn't be happening. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi. Oh. Assalamu alaikum. I was going to read a message, but I can't see it anymore. Sister Aisha, are you still there?
Okay, so I'm back. I just came back in. Yeah. Thank you. I hope you were not too lonely while I was away.
Nah. Yeah, I did miss you. Okay, when you left, I read, okay, we have something else. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. This is Sister Khadija from Lagos. I'm extremely happy to be part of this. Thank you so much. We're glad to have you here too, Sister Khadija. So when you were away, Sister Aisha, my sister said She loved that you spoke about communication being key. And also, she also stated that we should carry our children along so that this circle doesn't continue. So we should carry our young children along. We should help them, make them understand that it's okay to have the boys in the kitchen. For the girls, it's okay to let the boys do stuff and stay with you in the kitchen. You know, all of this shouldn't be alien to them. So they grow up and they are okay. You know, they don't have to have this conversation like we're doing again.
Yeah. Yes, it's very important to carry our children along. I have, Alhamdulillah, Allah has blessed me with 3 sons. My first son is 15, the second is about 13. And in his school, interestingly, when it comes to, home management, he came first,
Mashallah.
even above, that's my second son, even above the girls
amazing.
in his class when it came to his home management. And he was like, he came home and he was boasting and he was like, and I'm like, okay. So
okay, let's read this message.
There's another thing. Sister.
Yeah, we've lost it. Please, can we have it again, please, admin?
Yes.
Okay, let's talk about your super boy while we're waiting for the message.
Now one other thing I want us to realize is
okay, it's back.
This is back.
Yeah.
Okay, please thank you, Sister Hidayah.
Yes, I'm Kudirat Ibrahim from Kaduna, 100% in support of this. Cooking different dishes shouldn't be priority in Ramadan. It should be more and more of ibadah. May Allah make it easy. I mean, yes, this is true. More and more of ibadah.
Thank you very much, admin. Thank you, Sister Kudirat. Thank you for joining us. So, like I was mentioning about, my son.
Yes.
Now, it is very important for us. Okay, we have another one. I agree with Sister Aishat. We need a support system and carry everyone along. Sit them down and make them understand what this is all about. Of course.
Exactly.
Now, there is a trend I'm noticing, which is that we should ensure that we let our male children understand their responsibility in as much as we also give them, home-based responsibilities. Like I remind my sons that, okay, you're going to be the maintainer and protector of your family one day. So you should be ready. And I, make them understand what that means in very practical financial terms and emotional terms. Because you have a trend where some women are trying to turn their boys into girls in a bid to make them, more
domesticated.
More domesticated and, more compassionate. So compassion does not come with, breaking down their manliness. You have to make them understand that there is more to manliness than, feeling maku. It's not about feeling maku.
Exactly.
Humility is one of the character traits of our prophet.
Exactly.
He was more man than any man.
Than any man, exactly. Yes. We have something from Sister Amina.
For us to balance this. Yes.
Yes, Aisha. Something from Sister Amina. She says, Jazakallah khairan for this point. Sometimes we are unable to perfect our salah due to exhaustion from house chores. And this is true. Yes, this does affect us. Yes, it gets to the point that we are so exhausted and we're not even sure. Sometimes you're saying Maghrib and your mind is not even there. You're thinking about the source that you've not been able to serve because, you've not been able to keep up. Things like that. It could really be exhausting. I think women are the one responsible being exhausted because, like Sister Hidayah said, we can always promise our activities. Besides, we need to engage our children in some of these activities.
I think what she meant is prioritize, not promise.
Prioritize. Okay, yes, we can prioritize. We can prioritize our activities. But a lot of times when people say that they want to prioritize their activities, we can also move this to we want to plan a lot. Want to plan for the food, plan for this and that before Ramadan comes. Maybe we need to buy some food ingredients. If we can't freeze them, we can dry them, to help them stay fresh when we need them, things like that. Do a lot of buying and things like that. But while you are doing this, you should be careful not to, while you're doing all this planning and prioritizing, you should be careful not to fall into the same well that we are trying to avoid. And by the time you've prioritized, you've planned and you've made all of these plans before Ramadan. Now, thank God, I don't have too much work to do because I have done most of the work during Ramadan. So because of it's a bit easy now, I just go back and start to feast during Sahur and Iftar because of the fact that I have done most of the planning before Ramadan. So I think bottom line, we should just try to remember that, like one of our contributors said, that it is all about the ibadah. There's lots more. We should concentrate on the ibadah and try as much as possible to not be fully focused on preparing for a feast. Even while you're planning, put your mind, let your mind focus on the fact that I am doing all of this planning so that I can concentrate on my ibadah, concentrate on all of the other spiritual aspects of Ramadan, and not so that I can be a better cook.
It's very interesting when you see some of those, photos going viral on social media.
Oh my
After
God.
iftar, where people have, big tummies, they are sleeping, they can't even pray, and stuff like that. So we should.
I'm telling
The
you.
key, the key, the key is balance. Seek balance.
Exactly.
Ensure
That's
that
the word.
whatever meals
Exactly.
you're preparing are nutrient dense, so they can
Exactly.
replenish. That's why dates is very important. It can replenish your nutrients, the nutrients you've lost so fast. So dates
Yes.
and water, very important. And then make sure that you have fruits, you have vegetables, and then you have, make sure your food is balanced, your menu is balanced, so that
Yes, yes,
we are
exactly.
not saying do Ramadan and come out of Ramadan and then
Looking like
maybe suffer
like
some stuff. It's even been proven that
malnutrition.
this fasting, no, fasting itself, some people now go on fasting breaks because it's good for the body to
Exactly.
replenish the body.
Yes.
So it's been
Yes.
proven scientifically that it's good for the body to go on fasting breaks at intervals. So whatever Allah has blessed us with, whatever He has told us to do, even if He has not told us
Is
the
a
blessings
blessing for
therein,
us.
it's a huge blessing. Look at, we don't even need to
Exactly.
go to the gym. You do enough naflat and salat in a day. Once you go on sujood, you are exercising all your
Your back.
body. Once you go, you are exercising all your body. So tell me, what has Allah left out for us? I
Nothing,
feel blessed
mashallah.
to be a Muslim.
Alhamdulillah. Alhamdulillah. Wallah.
May
Alhamdulillah.
Allah keep us steadfast on Islam.
Ameen, ameen, ameen.
So it's been a very interesting session for me.
Well,
And
yes, it's been
sisters,
amazing for me too. Okay, so Aisha, will you take the next comment? Okay, I think we've lost Aisha. Let me just take it. Sister Sani Jumake said, Amin, sis. Sister Naima, however, when the girls become married women, they should not take their supportive husbands for granted because they can do house chores. This may make the men feel disrespected. Okay, now I wish Sister Aisha, you here? I would like for you to take this. I'd like for you to say a few things about this comment of taking your husband for granted. Yes, thank you, Saisha. Did you hear the comments I just read? Saisha? Okay. Okay, let me say a few things about it. Maybe Saisha will join midway. About taking your husband for granted simply because he's supportive. Yes, like Aisha has said, the key word is balance. The key word is balance. And whatever it is that we do as Muslims, we should try as much as possible to have a good intention. Do it for the sake of Allah. If and every home is different. Every home is different. In some homes, it is normal. It's a normal thing to have the husband help out in the kitchen. It doesn't only come up during Ramadan. So in a home like that, it's easy for you to just go by Ramadan and have your husband help you out throughout. But in a home where things don't work like that, it's not a bad thing, but maybe that's just how it works. That's the normal for this home. And then you want some things to change. Like I've said earlier, have this conversation with your husband. And while you're having the conversation, if you know your husband is the kind of person that will easily understand and be wholeheartedly ready to help your situation, your intention should guide you now. Your intention should guide you, and you should not definitely. I don't expect that you have this intention to use the opportunity to. Oh, Saisha, thank God, I'm glad you're back. I am talking about this comment that a sister sent. She said, if you have a husband that is open to help you, that will understand, you should not take advantage of the situation.
Yeah.
And so I was just saying that your intention should guide you when you're asking for help and when you're accepting help. If you have a good intention and you're doing it solely for the sake of Allah, you want to be able to have time to do more of your ibadah and things like that. And also having in mind that your husband too needs to, go out of the house and work. In most in most parts of the world, work doesn't stop because of Ramadan is here. You understand? So he also has a lot on his plate that he's dealing with. So if we have a good intention towards this, I don't expect that anyone should take advantage of this help that we are asking for. So what's your take on this, Aisha?
So, the Prophet ﷺ also reminded us that whoever is not grateful to the people is not grateful to Allah. So if we have, is a husband who is supportive, we should be grateful to him and express our gratitude. It doesn't stop with us, just appreciating it in our hearts. Since they cannot come into our hearts to see what's there. They said
exactly.
when you appreciate people, they are likely to do more. So when you show your husband that you appreciate them, they are likely to do more. So look forward to more when you appreciate your spouses.
Inshallah.
When they do good towards you.
Okay, yeah, I'm back. Assalamu alaikum.
Wa alaikum salam. So this is very important, and we are gradually inching towards the end of the session, and it will not be fair if we don't mention, the uniqueness of women who work or who do business, and then who still have to ensure that their family, gets adequate nutrition during Ramadan. Because some of my respondents also had this. So when I did the poll I mentioned earlier, I had about 37 or so responses, and about 7 were male, interestingly, right? And some of the male shows the society, the family, and they had the same argument. Because of the influence, sorry, I was muted for a while.
Okay. Hey, Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Hi everyone. Thank you so much for joining the first session of the Bounty Pre-Ramadan Conference. As always, this is always a beautiful, beautiful, beautiful program, and it started on an awesome note. So for those of us just joining, hopefully the recording will be here on YouTube and you can watch it again. It was an amazing high opening presentation. Thank you so much, Sister Hidayah. Thank you so much, Sister Aisha. It's always lovely to listen to the both of you. MashaAllah. A quick summary. I don't know what you were taking away, but here's what I am taking away from their debate. It wasn't much of a debate anyway. The two of them sort of like were yin yang and they sync, but it was an amazing presentation. Thank you, both of you, for sharing and for those people who called in. So, what are we taking away? For me, the most important point is balance. Balance, balance, balance. You need to find a balance because adulting, taking care of the kids, going to work, and Ramadan can be very, very hectic, and easily women do get exhausted, and it was good to know who is responsible. We cannot say that it's the woman or the family or the society. In a way, responsibility is on all of us. However, for you as a woman, what you should take away from the point is you have to take responsibility for your life. This is as much your Ramadan as it is the Ramadan of your husband and your family and the society. So you need to take responsibility. One of the things that I always say, and I've been saying, well, at least I've been saying all year, is that we need to have the audacity to be our authentic self. And if there's any time to start, it is Ramadan. And I like what Sister Hidayah said about how we need to actually carry our families along. You're not going to turn into a rebel and tell people that there's no pap and moi moi this year. It's only rice you are cooking. No, please, some of us, our lives depend on it. You need to actually have a meeting with your family and explain to people how is it going. How is it going? In fact, my own opinion is that have a family meeting and discuss the challenges you've been having in past Ramadans and ask people to suggest solutions. If your husband suggests that the pap should be every other day, do you think he's going to be angry if he doesn't get pap on day 2? No. So they have discussed how you need to take charge and truly take responsibility for your life, have a family meeting, and find some balance. That's the 3 point I'm taking away. And I pray that Allah in His infinite mercy makes what has been shared beneficial for us and keep all of us to Ramadan and beyond. May He ease good deeds for us. May He make it easy for us to do. May He make it easy for us to truly gain the reward and blessing of Ramadan. Ameen.
كتب عليكم الصيام كما كتب على الذين من قبلكم لعلكم تتقون.
Are you prepared for Ramadan? From the archive of your Muslimah charity presents the Awakening Ramadan, featuring 7 Muslimah-centric panel sessions with over 20 esteemed speakers of your choice. You nominated them. We did the handwork to get them for you. This year shall also feature heartwarming keynote speeches from Dr. Yunus Haifa, founder, Jannah Institute, 5 p.m. Friday, 2nd April 2021. Dr. Hannah Gamal, founder, Quran Quest Institute, 9:30 p.m. Saturday, 3rd April 2021. Sada Aisha Prime, founder, Baraka Inn, 7:45 p.m. Friday, 2nd April 2021. Plus interactive women fix session by Ustaza Fatima, Aye Bajeje, and Dr. Tawakat Dabiri. Hot debate discussions, interviews, and more. What are you waiting for? Share the message, share the reward. See Bounty social handles, posters, and newspapers for details.
Okay, so up next at 11:30, we are going to have the parenting panel. And this is for all of us. You know how you're also going to be parenting during Ramadan. We've talked about you as a homekeeper in session 1. For session 2, we're going to talk about you as the parent. And this is not just about you being a parent of Ramadan alone. You can come with all your questions and all the challenges you've been dealing with all year long. Inshallah, we have a panel of very experienced educational psychologists and parents who are coming to share with us point. And that's at 11:30 a.m. So don't go far. We'll start very soon. At 5 p.m. today, we would host Dr. Y. Aifa, and she is coming. Do not go anywhere. At 5 p.m. Apologies. The keynote address will be given at 5 p.m. by Dr. Wa Aifa, and then we're going to have the FIQ session with Dr. Tawakkalt Dabiri at 5:30 p.m. The second keynote address for the day will be at 7:45 p.m. to be given by Sister Aisha of Aisha Prime. And finally, for all the business moguls in the house, we are going to host our dear sister, Tokwe Fadin Besi, innovative, proud, our Muslimahs pride, our Lima. And they will be, I think there's a third one on that panel, and they are going to be here at 8:30 p.m. to talk to us about business, because yes, it may be Ramadan, but we're not shutting down our businesses. And that's for day one. That's for day one of the conference. We hope to see you throughout. It is going to be an amazing conference, and I pray that Allah makes all that we listen to and learn beneficial for us. So see you in 13 minutes. We'll see you in 13 minutes. Thank you.
يا أيها الذين آمنوا كتب عليكم الصيام كما كتب على الذين من قبلكم لعلكم تتقون.
Are you prepared for Ramadan? From the archive of your Muslimah charity presents the Awakening Ramadan, featuring 7 Muslimah-centric panel sessions with over 20 esteemed speakers of your choice. You nominated them. We did the handwork to get them for you. This year shall also feature heartwarming keynote speeches from Dr. Yunus Haifa, founder, Janal Institute, 5 p.m. Friday, 2nd April 2021. Dr. Hannah Gamal, founder, Quran Quest Institute, 9:30 p.m. Saturday, 3rd April 2021. Sada Aisha Prime, founder, Baraka Inn, 7:45 p.m. Friday, 2nd April 2021. Plus interactive women fix session by Ustaza Fatima, Aye Bajeje, and Dr. Tawakkalt Dabiri. Hot debate discussions, interviews, and more. What are you waiting for? Share the message, share the reward. See Bounty social handles, posters, and newspapers for details.
وأن تصوموا خير لكم إن كنتم تعلمون.
Muslims have to do 5 things. Who knows what they are?
Shahada, Salah, Zakat, Saum, Hajj.
And do you know what these mean?
Testimony of faith, prayer, charity, fasting, pilgrimage.
دستورنا القرآن وديننا الإسلام أركانه الجليلة دعائم الفضيلة ويا الشهادتان كعيدة إيمان وصوم والصلاة وحج والزكاة. Our guide is the Quran, our religion is Islam. 5 noble pillars upholding what is virtuous. To make the testimony is the basis of the faith, and the fast and the prayer, the pilgrimage and charity. دستورنا القرآن وديننا الإسلام أركانه الجليلة دعائم الفضيلة ويا الشهادتان كعيدة الإيمان وصوم والصلاة وحج والزكاة. Our guide is the Quran, our religion is Islam. 5 noble pillars upholding what is virtuous. To make the testimony is the base of the faith, and the fast and the prayer, the pilgrimage and charity. To make the testimony is the base of the faith, and the fast and the prayer, the pilgrimage and charity.
All Muslims have to do 5 things. Who knows what they are?
Shahada, Salah, Zakat, Saum, Hajj.
And do you know what these mean?
Testimony of faith, prayer, charity, fasting, pilgrimage.
دستورنا القرآن وديننا الإسلام أركانه الجليلة دعائم الفضيلة.
All Muslims have to do 5 things. Who knows what they are?
Yes, I can.
Shahada, Salah,
Can you? Assalamu alaikum.
Saum, Hajj.
And do you know what these mean?
Testimony of
Can you hear me?
prayer,
Did you get my response?
charity, fasting, pilgrimage.
Not yet? Did you get my response?
دستورنا القرآن وديننا الإسلام
Hear me?
أركانه الجليلة دعائم الفضيلة.
Wow.
ويا الشهادتان كعيدة إيمان وصوم والصلاة وحج والزكاة. Our guide is the Quran, our religion is Islam. 5 noble pillars upholding what is virtuous. To make the testimony is the base of the faith, and the fast and the prayer, the pilgrimage and charity. دستورنا القرآن وديننا الإسلام أركانه الجليلة دعائم الفضيلة. ويا الشهادتان كعيدة الإيمان وصوم والصلاة وحج والزكاة. Our guide is the Quran, our religion is Islam. 5 noble pillars upholding what is virtuous. To make the testimony is the base of the faith, and the fast and the
يا أيها الذين آمنوا كتب عليكم الصيام كما كتب على الذين من قبلكم لعلكم تتقون.
Are you prepared for Ramadan? From the archive of your Muslimah charity presents the Awakening Ramadan, featuring 7 Muslimah-centric panel sessions with over 20 esteemed speakers of your choice. You nominated them. We did the handwork to get them for you. This year shall also feature heartwarming keynote speeches from Dr. Yunus Haifa, founder, Jannah Institute, 5 p.m. Friday, 2nd April 2021. Dr. Hannah Gamal, founder, Quran Quest Institute, 9:30 p.m. Saturday, 3rd April 2021. Sada Aisha Prime, founder, Baraka Inn, 7:45 p.m. Friday, 2nd April 2021. Plus interactive women fix session by Ustaza Fatima, Aye Bajeje, and Dr. Tawakat Dabiwi. Hot debate discussions, interviews, and more. What are you waiting for? Share the message, share the reward. See Bounty social handles, posters, and newspapers for details.
وأن تصوموا خير لكم إن كنتم تعلمون.
Okay, A'udhu billahi minash shaitanir rajim. Bismillahir rahmanir rahim. Wassalatu wassalam ala rasulillah ma ba'd. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh, beautiful sisters. Welcome to the parenting panel session for the Bounties Ramadan conference. And today, well, as always, on every panel, we have some very big heavyweights, like the best of the best when it comes to the topic of parenting and practically everything, but parenting mostly. So today on the parenting panel, I have with me Mrs. Shakira Olajobi. She is an education psychologist and the CEO of Brainy Educare Services. And we have Ms. Fatima Amza, who's also an educationist and the founder of Palm of Hope Foundation. And all the way from across down under, we have Sister Sumaya Sadiq Ojibara. She's a counselor and a psychotherapist, the CEO and MD of Com Extra. And with the last but definitely not the least, Sonny here. So let me quickly read the profile so that you understand what I mean by heavyweight, and it's not just Mutia's mouth. First, we have Mrs. Olajobi. She is the CEO of Brainy Educare Services. She is a management consultant by excellence. She's a serial entrepreneur and currently sits on the management of a number of companies and schools. She enjoys coaching and aspiring entrepreneurs and cater career people on self-development, basics, and business ethics. She also enjoys mentoring women in their journey to self-discovery, and I can say for a fact, with all my chest, that I am one of those women that Ms. Olajobi has helped on the journey here. I cannot even imagine where I would be without her influence, and I'm forever grateful. Welcome, Mrs. Olajobi, once again, welcome to this parenting panel. It's nice to have you, ma.
Thank you, ma'am.
Next up, we have Sister Sumaya Sadiq Ojibara. Wa alaikum salam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Sister Sumaya is our role model extraordinaire. You know, the shining light that all of us are watching, and knowing that if she can do it, I can definitely try. She's a counselor, a psychotherapist, and CEO and MD of Com Extra. She is she's a trained psychotherapist, counselor, life coach, mindfulness guide, a writer, a poet, a speaker, a mentor, an entrepreneur, and a creativity consultant. She is a trained therapist with over 25 years of experience with non-formal and formal training and
Yeah, I think I was mute.
يا أيها الذين آمنوا كتب عليكم الصيام كما كتب على الذين من قبلكم لعلكم تتقون.
Are you prepared for Ramadan? From the archive of your Muslimah charity presents the Awakening Ramadan, featuring 7 Muslimah-centric panel sessions with over 20 esteemed speakers of your choice. You nominated them. We did the hard work to get them for you. This year shall also feature heartwarming keynote speeches from Dr. Yunus Haifa, founder, Janal Institute, 5 p.m. Friday, 2nd April 2021. Dr. Hannah Gamal, founder, Quran Quest Institute, 9:30 p.m. Saturday, 3rd April 2021. Ustada Aisha Prime, founder, Baraka Inn, 7:45 p.m. Friday, 2nd April 2021. Plus interactive women fix session by Ustaza Fatima, Aye Bajeje, and Dr. Tawakat Dabiri. Hot debate discussions, interviews, and more. What are you waiting for? Share the message, share the reward. See Bounty social handles, posters, and newspapers for details.
وأن تصوموا خير لكم إن كنتم تعلمون.
All Muslims have to do 5 things. Who knows what they are?
Shahada, Salah, Zakat, Saum, Hajj.
And do you know what these mean?
Testimony of faith, prayer, charity, fasting, pilgrimage.
دستورنا القرآن وديننا الإسلام أركانه جليلة دعائم الفضيلة ويا الشهادتان كعيدة إيمان والصوم والصلاة وحج والزكاة. Our guide is the Quran, our religion is Islam. 5 noble pillars upholding what is virtuous. To make the testimony is the basis of the faith, and the fast and the prayer, the pilgrimage and charity. دستورنا القرآن وديننا الإسلام أركانه الجليلة دعائم الفضيلة ويا الشهادتان كعيدة الإيمان والصوم والصلاة
Okay, assalamu alaikum. Can you hear me?
Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. One of the things that I've loved about our ability as people is our ability to roll with whatever comes up. So I think one of the things that's really important will be to put together our expectations for this summit, which means that there will be some technical issues that are beyond the control of, the best effort and the best intentions. So if we find that, the network is going off or we're freezing, just continue to be patient. I know that we've been looking forward to this. So, let's get the talk going, because we've all been so expectant while we wait for Mutia to come on. And once she comes on, I'll just, give the mantle back to her. And since I'm speaking, I might as well start off with just getting us to think about that sense of what could, as parents and as carers and just a whole range of experiences. So I like to think about it in 3 parts. One part is to think about it as BC, before COVID, as DC, during COVID, and AC, after COVID. So let's go around to each of us and just in a sentence or 2, what's our experience like in that parenting space after COVID, or the 3 parts that, I have said, just in a sentence or 2 to give us that context of what we're talking about, why and how that takes us into that space of now preparing for Ramadan. And we might start with Sister Fatima. Please go ahead and share your quick sense of what after COVID is like and preparing for Ramadan. Just in a sentence or so.
Okay, أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم والصلاة والسلام على سيدنا محمد وعلى آله وصحبه أجمعين. Wow, in the sentence before COVID, wow, everything was fine and busy life. Then after COVID, everything just stopped in its and allowed us to look, to introspect. So I'm going past that parenting mode. So actually my children are a lot older. So, but I do recognize myself when they talk about exhaustion. I do remember, so it comes back to mind.
Okay. Wow, that's a great way to actually start, because at the end of the day, it takes us to that place where we start to think about the different age groups that we're dealing with. Let's hear from our other sisters. Sister, oh, I think I'm hearing that my voice is low. Is that right? Is it low? Okay. Is it better this way? Is the voice better now?
Yes, it is.
Yes.
Okay. And I see that Mutia is back, and she told me in capital letters, I am back. Oh, so let's hand over back to the queen of awesomeness. Queen, go ahead.
I didn't mean to shout. Thank you. Okay, thank you. I like to believe that everybody has done their 2 minutes of intro.
No, we haven't. So what I did basically was just to get us talking about 3 parts that I thought was a way to kind of give us context, which is before COVID, during COVID, and after COVID, which I call BC, DC, and AC. So Sister Fatima has just shared a little bit, just in a sentence, which is what I did. So not even up to 2 minutes. What her own sense of what it's like after COVID now, and then preparing to go into Ramadan. So that's what we've done so far.
Okay.
So Mutia,
okay,
back to you.
Much. Can we go on with your pattern? I like it. Because I particularly wanted to ask that this is the first Ramadan post-lockdown, and as usual as we think it will be, there's still going to be some getting used to, because last Ramadan was so unusual that now that we can move about and do some things that we couldn't do last year, there's still going to be some newness to it. For me, for instance, we have to leave the house, and that's already giving me palpitations. The core theme for this panel is the exhaustion of parenting during Ramadan. So now that we are entering a new normal and everything is new, what are the challenges that you think that parents will be having this Ramadan with all of the unique things that we're getting used to post-COVID lockdown? And anyone can pick it up.
Okay, may I? Can you hear me? May I?
Please go ahead. Please go ahead, ma'am.
Yes, okay. So just share with you a quick story. A sister recently shared with me that the best fasting she has ever done, and she had ever accomplished a lot of quality deeds, was during the COVID times. And she attributed this to, first of all, she cut necessary movement, because she was supposed to stay at home. She put the extra time to good use by engaging a lot of dhikr and a lot of charity activities and much introspection. And then able to spend quality time with her children and got to know them better. Things she had never noticed. She was able to support their needs, and then it improved bonding, strengthened bonding between her and her children. So she was able to practice her shepherding role, granting every its haq in the home. So as a result, we realized that this is actually achievable if we slow down and make that time. Dunya became inconsequential for her, So as I listened to her, I said, so is this Allah intends for us to learn, paying attention to things that really matter? COVID was preparing us for Ramadan. It was a rehearsal for the reality of Ramadan. Give Ramadan its haq, because all this time we used to be so busy. We were always on edge. We were always there was too much on our plate. But Ramadan, COVID just really slowed everything down. So basically, fasting is hard work, and so it will be, exhausting. But that's reality. But the question is, what are we exhausting ourselves with? So this is what I wanted to say for this now. Over to you.
Thank you very much, Ma. Mrs. O, what's your take on the question about what to expect and how it may or may not overwhelm us this Ramadan as parents?
Okay, thank you. Well, I think that for us as parents, this coming Ramadan, inshallah, is the next new normal. The next new normal, because it's going to be different from last Ramadan. Like you said, we now can move around. However, it's still not the same Ramadan that we were used to. The Ramadan we've done for years. Because yes, we still have the COVID around in certain places, even if it's a lower number, and there's still certain precautions. Plus, a lot of us, we're going to need to take time to unwind and get back to our normal selves. The prayers in congregation and the visits and all of that. So all of these things, I believe, will add to the exhaustion if we're not careful. And I would say that for me, the way out is to try as much as possible to work on our mindset, to picture how it's going to play out, and try to put some plans down. Like my sister said, it's going to be something that would, yes, be exhaustive, but over what? So we have to put something down. And because we're talking about parenting, I believe that we should carry the children along. So it won't be a bad idea to have a kind of gathering, especially dedicated to preparation for Ramadan at this time with our children, to talk about what we're going to be doing, what activities we're going to be doing, to have like a layout of all the things that will be happening in Ramadan, and then involve the children in as many of the activities as possible so that the entire family is carried along. So basically that's it. And of course, we have to note some things down in blueprints. We should write things down so we can keep checking, ticking off as we move on. And I pray Allah makes it easy, inshallah.
Ameen, ameen. Sister Sumaya, so if we are doing Ibadah right and we're striving to be close to Allah in this blessed month, we should not be experiencing stress and anxiety in the home. Why would we be experiencing stress when we're doing everything with love and where our spirit is high? In our relationship with our children, we shouldn't have. Can you hear me properly, ma?
I can hear you.
Can you hear
I can hear you.
Okay, so the shayateen and the devil and all of them are locked down. Why would we still experience stress in Ramadan? All the devils have gone away now. Everything should just be calm and awesome.
Okay. So may Allah make it easy for us. I think it boils down to two things. First of all, one is to do with our expectations and the other is to do with our aspirations. But really quickly, and that may then perhaps go into other questions that you would have for us, is a quick sort of understanding about what happens to us in Ramadan. And of course, when you put in the context of in the family, with our children, as parents. What happens when we're hungry is that the serotonin, because we need the blood sugar, and what happens, what will then come up or what will be produced into the bloodstream to try and regulate that blood sugar will be two hormones, which will be the cortisol and the adrenaline. So cortisol is a strong, and adrenaline is that care about, which is a fight or flight. And when that happens, it can bring just a whole range of moods. Serotonin is one of the most important hormones in our body. It's actually what helps us to regulate our moods, helps with our digestions, basically give us a... So if you can imagine that that happens when we're hungry, clearly there will be just a whole lot of moods we'll be experiencing. So if you bring it into the context of being parents, fasting ourselves, trying to attend to some of our other needs, perhaps working, attending to the children in a normal, whatever that is for different families, that definitely will bring stress and anxiety. The other thing that is very important to keep in mind is that when we talk about fasting, I think we need to really check some of our beliefs around it. And perhaps I will leave it until we talk some more about other aspects of it. But I think it's really important to keep in mind that the shayateen are locked up, but we are the ones fasting, and we are human beings, and our bodies will experience a range of things as it is meant to, because it is Ramadan, because we're fasting. But it's just to prepare ourselves so that our things are managed and are clearer to us. and how we're going to do it in terms of our action.
Okay. Mashallah. So the shayateen may not be here, but we are here. And we have our own, we have our own deep issues, the ones that we like to pretend that that's the devil talking. Okay. Agi Aswani, are you there, ma?
Hello, salam alaikum.
Okay, salam alaikum, ma. Please, could you?
Hello.
Wa alaikum salam. I can hear you, ma.
Okay.
So
okay,
what would you say?
you.
What would? Can you hear me, ma?
Yes.
What would?
Hello.
Okay, so what's your take on what we have said so far?
Oh, Alhamdulillah, Rabbil Alameen. We thank Allah for bringing us on this platform. And I pray that Allah guides and protect every one of us. I'm so excited about this program. One, because I had a little experience of COVID-19 for about 10 days. I was down. And little did I know that I will be around this time to be able to participate in this discussion. My experience that time was so hard that I didn't know that I will live to this Ramadan. And it is because of this that I'm so excited to make adequate preparation for Ramadan.
Moti, are you still there? Because it seems everywhere has gone quiet now. I don't think she's there. Okay. Like we said, we'll just keep moving.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay.
I thought it was my network. Oh, okay. I thought it was my network. Okay, so what are the things that we go through during Ramadan as individuals before we even move on to us as parents? What are the things that we do or that goes on within our body or around us or in our minds that as individuals during Ramadan that eventually comes to play and affect believe that we need to take note of in preparation for the coming one?
Is it me? Is that for me?
Was I audible? Hello? Can anybody hear me?
Yeah, we can hear you.
Can we go
ahead? We can hear you.
Okay, so I was things that happens to us individually as an individual, barring or whether we're parents or not, we ourselves, that we need to take note of in preparation for parenting in Ramadan in order to be able to up our
Okay. So, okay.
Right.
Yes, please go ahead.
Okay. So, so traditionally, before I actually understood the true essence of Islam and what Allah, my creator, required from me, everything was ritualistic, was celebratory, was about making things in this dunya perfect to the state of exhaustion. Focusing, I was focusing more time, on time wasters, it was fasting. If it was fasting, it was about cooking the best dishes and as many dishes. Add to that, looking after the children, only to get so exhausted and fall asleep after iftar, wake up, eat more, tire some more, and go to bed, Very little ibadah, subhanallah. But as I learned about Allah and understood what He wanted for me, And from me, I started to do better. I started to focus better. I started to make better choices, substituting those fruitless, exhausting activities with more fruitful ones. So, for example, less cooking, paced eating, more planning, more dhikr, more role model for the children. So, first glance of the topic, when it came to my attention, I struggled a bit with it. Then I realized, why I was struggling with it. Well, of course, there will be exhaustion. You are a parent, you're probably working, you're probably breastfeeding, you're running after little ones, and on top of that, you're fasting. You're not eating, you're not drinking, so your energy gets depleted easily. So you will definitely be exhausted. Yes, I do remember that, exhaustion stage. So I said, if I were to advise my younger self today, what would I say? What would I do different? Knowing what I know today, this is what I would advise myself. I said, so I'll first of all tell myself, it's okay. It's okay to be exhausted. You are fasting and parenting. It comes with the territory. And then the difficulty is a test within a test. And the secret to this success is embracing it with lots of patience. And when ease comes, it's also a test. The success is gratitude. So do not forget to thank Allah when the ease comes. And then also, I would tell myself that it's a phase. This too shall pass. And then also to tell myself that your Lord is As-Sami Al-Basir, okay? Al-Alim. He sees everything, he hears everything, and he knows everything. He assigned me this responsibility and knows it's not easy. He is ever present, subtle, and will make it easy for me. Allah is only interested in my intentions and my efforts. So when Allah presents me with lemons, I will grab it and make lemonade. This is what I'll tell myself. And then I'll also tell myself the intention, the power of intention. I will remind myself of that. Turn every action into ibadah by doing it consciously, seeking Allah's pleasure. So for example, napping. If I'm tired, I want to nap, I will nap to gain energy so that I can do more ibadah, but intentionally and consciously. If I'm resting, I would reflect and turn it into ibadah just by redesigning my attention. The Rasul said, even a smile is sadaqah. So I will try as best as I can to smile, even in that phase of exhaustion, So if I'm breastfeeding, feeding can be ibadah as well. I will choose rukhsa, not to fast if I'm breastfeeding. If it tires me, then make it up later, So introducing them, the children to solids or something that will make it easy for them. Yeah. So, a lot of times we think it's easy, Fasting is about the physical, you use your limbs, but you can also be sitting down and gain a lot of. The Rasul Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam, the Sahaba once, who is incapable of gaining 1,000 a day. And the Sahaba asked him, how do we gain this? It's easy. Allah will either remove 1,000 sins or grant you 1,000 hasanats. You say Subhanallah 100 times. So when you study your energy cycle, that is when you need to understand, okay, at this time I have the most energy, so I have energy burst, and I'll do the physical ibadat. And then at times that I'm less, I have less energy, that is the time I'll do a lot of zikr that will weigh heavier on my scales, Yawm al-Qiyamah, inshallah. And then I'll also remind myself that he's Ar-Rahman, and this is the month of mercy, and he's the most merciful, so he will make it easy for me and have mercy on me. So this is what I'll say to my.
Okay, Jazakallah khairan. Mrs. O. Jazakallah khairan. Oh, my camera is off. Jazakallah khairan for that letter to your younger self. Thank you. Mrs. O, what would you say are the things that we need to work on in the next 10 days or thereabout before Ramadan hits us in the face, as in order to improve our relationship with our kids so that we don't hit road bumps? There will be bumps in the way, but to prevent our head from hitting the floor bad, what are the things we need to work on a personal level as individuals?
Okay, thank you. I'll start from sharing this for myself, and then I hope it's useful for everybody else. I think the most important thing we need to do in the next 10 days is to pause. We need to take a break, because we see the countdown every day. Our anxiety is rising, our excitement is rising. Oh, alhamdulillah, Ramadan is coming. But we haven't quite gotten mindful about what the implications are for us as parents. So I'll say take a pause, take a break first, and ask yourself, what does this mean for me? I have 10 days to Ramadan, and I am a parent, I'm a mother. What do I need to do to ensure that I make the best use of this Ramadan, to make sure that my children are able to get the best out of this Ramadan? So taking this pause and asking ourselves these questions will help us to put things into better perspective. And like I said, let's try to picture how things are going to flow. Then we need to have a conversation with the children. I'm a fan of empowering the children. So let's see how we can work things out and say, okay, we're going to do this. We should also create a timetable, because when we talk about women and exhaustion in Ramadan, it's usually about cooking or being in the kitchen and the likes. And in as much as this is a rewardable act, it's an act of ibadah. When we cook for our family, we get rewarded. Yes, we all agree. But we must be careful to balance it, because our souls are also yearning for active ways of doing ibadah. Yes, I can be in the kitchen and I'm doing my subhanallah, alhamdulillah, I'm doing my other dhikr. However, I also want to be able to do qiyamul layl. I also want to be able to sit down and read my Quran actively rather than just listening to it. So there should be a balance. We should realize that Ramadan is not quite the feast that we think it is, because a lot of times what we try to do at iftar, what quite a number of us do without even realizing, is we try to make up for all the meals that we've missed, and then there's no essence. So we have to actively ensure that we empower the children in this model that we're trying to build in the next couple of days, and let them know, okay, so we're going to be doing this. We have a timetable. We even have who's helping mommy on what days. And we have to get quite picky about the activities that we're going to be involving ourselves in. During the lockdown, as much as it was a period of introspection for a lot of us, we also sort of got ourselves like tangled in some other things. So you may want to reduce, personally, I would want to reduce my interaction with social media. As much as I engage with it usually for the sake of development, it's also important to realize that we need more time with ourselves. We need to rediscover ourselves, and that's part of the next new normal for Ramadan. For me, and I hope this is useful for everybody else. We need to prioritize. We need to write what will be the basic things that we're hoping that we can achieve minimum. And then, like you've said, we have 10 days. And I would say every 10 days into the month of Ramadan, we should do a review. We should look at it again and see, okay, so how far have I gone? And there's always this feeling that tends to overwhelm us as humans. So we see that we're not as at the level we thought we would be, and then we get very discouraged. It shouldn't be so. We have to remind ourselves that Allah is Ghafur Rahim, and there's always opportunity for us to start over and do things better. And I hope this is useful. Yes.
Amen. I mean, I believe you've really touched on a great deal of points. Thank you very much. I cannot see everyone in the room. Can I have the big view where I get to see everyone who's here? Okay, so it's just me and you here. What happened? What happened? We've been left by ourselves.
Oh.
Okay, so Sister Sumaya. Okay. From the behavioral management perspective and the psychology of the human being that we are, what are the behavioral management? Well, how do I put the word? What are the things that we need to start? We have, so it's not just about talking, telling your husband, I don't want to be stressed, telling the children, don't stress me. What are the things that we need to do ourselves to avoid stress? Because it is stressful. It is not, this is once a year, and it comes naturally with its own extra stress. How do we, from the inside out, prepare for Ramadan as parents?
Okay. Jazakallah khairan. So just following on from what my esteemed sisters have said as well, I think for me there are two things actually, and I kind of mentioned it in the passing before. That's to do with our expectations as well as our aspirations. So in preparation for Ramadan as well as during the Ramadan, it's important that we actually ourselves and get to have a sense of what it is that we're trying to do in Ramadan, and then to look at our expectations and look at our circumstances to determine whether we have the capacity to do those things. What tends to happen a lot is that we're full of fire and we're fueled and we're powered on at the beginning of Ramadan, and then after a couple of days we kind of start going down, and then towards the end of Ramadan, sometimes we power back on. And by that time, people will be focusing on a whole lot of things after Ramadan, this and that. So, it can be challenging to keep the motivation up. So there are a few things that I like to do that is just being as practical as possible. We know that in Ramadan, one act is multiplied in terms of the reward. And we know that the Prophet ﷺ has said that the best act that Allah is one that is done consciously and consistently. So I think helping us to set aspirations that are realistic to our circumstances are really, really fundamental to the mindset we take into that month of Ramadan and what can keep our motivation up. And if you take that into how that then impacts the thing that we do, I'll quickly share three L's that that I think can be very helpful. One is how we look at it. So, just starting to get into that space with our children, with ourselves, getting into that space of anticipation, preparation, and that can take many forms, especially depending on the ages of the children. Some young adults that we might have, we might think, oh, they're grown people. But what they will keep associating with Ramadan is that it's a time of meaning for the family. The house is filled with perhaps lovely smells of the whole and cooking, but at the same time, sounds of reading of the Quran, and at the same time, just a sense of well-being and peace, but also stress. One quick thing, before we move on, Mutiat said, how do we can't? Stress is part of our human experience, is how we manage it, what kind of coping we have, and how that may or may not impact or take away from our Ramadan. Secondly, it is how we express ourselves, the language we use to express it. So we want to use the language of motivation, and we want to use the language that allows us to really get that sense of meaning. So in terms of our parenting, storytelling is really important. And I'm not talking about the stories of the Sahabas alone. We can talk about stories of how we fasted, the kind of shenanigans we used to get up to, and all those sorts of things. Language of motivation is also how we recognize what the kids are doing, celebrate it, recognize it, reward it for them, say those things and show a lot of empathy. You're tired. Yeah, come and sit beside me here. Also, depending on where we're located, there's some countries that we live in, we're not a majority in that country. And, it's really important to create that space of beauty and joy that is related to Ramadan in our homes, so that the children can really be able to feel motivated. And then finally is how we live it, the actions we take, the way we're able to be consistent with what we're doing, both for ourselves and as parents again. Being creative is extremely important. So where we're trying to get ourselves to really use all our sense of creativity to get the most of the reward. So those are a few things that I can go into the discussion.
MashaAllah, Jazakallah khairan for that. Mrs. Olajobi, I'm going to bring the next question. I'm going to start the next question with you. And so, whether we like it or not, the children are fasting, sugar is low, tantrum will definitely be high, we're hoping it won't be, but we need to be realistic. Tantrum will happen. We feel that during Ramadan, children are so tired that they can't do anything. But then there are those toddlers that are fasting and breaking their fast every hour. How do we deal with whether it's from toddlers or for teenagers, how do we deal with the interruption? I don't like to call it anything terrible. You know, children will be children and they have every right to express whatever it is. Their interruption, you know, it is 5 p.m. I'm managing myself. I can't wait for 7 p.m. And one person start to interrupt the peace and quiet that I was hoping would go. How do we deal with these kids, particularly because we can't say bad words, we don't want to bite them, we're very mindful of all the things we've promised ourselves to do, and we don't want to do something that allow will now collect part of the small thing that I'm not doing. How do we
Okay.
spirituality during Ramadan?
Yeah, thank you for that question. I hope you can hear me clearly. It was breaking at some points. I'm not sure that I'm very audible. So first of all, let me start by saying that I have a child. One of my children, anytime he's fasting, is extremely touchy. And it's almost like he's getting into one kind of trouble or the other. So yes, I do agree that in some homes, the level of tantrums or things like that
Did you
is really
hear
on
me?
the higher side. Yes, and I am responding. Can you hear me?
Yes. Yes.
Can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you. Please
Hello?
go on. I think there's a
Okay,
timeline.
great. Oh, right. Okay. So I was sharing an example of my child who does exactly what you've described. And you know, there's this saying that an hungry man is a angry man. So it's expected. And what I would say that we need to do as parents is we need to avoid the power tussle. We need to avoid the power tussle because the power tussle is going to make us more exhausted. It's going to take a lot out of us. And yes, you're right when you said we may find ourselves using very bad language, especially if it's something that one has been doing before Ramadan. And that's why we just have to get used to doing the right things so that whether or not we're fasting, we don't use bad words on children, even when we're upset with them. So when I say avoiding power tussle, what exactly do I mean? We need to choose our battles. We need to look at what the likely challenges are. If you've been having this kind of cases in Ramadan, so you already have an idea what is coming up. If you don't have an idea, perhaps this is the first time that the children are old enough to fast. So you want to be on the lookout. You want to observe what are usually the challenges, what are usually the triggers, what usually causes the tantrums, or what's the bone of contention. You want to pay attention and then figure it out. Make a list. Put something down on paper. Make a list of what the issues are and then decide on which ones you want to let go. And that's what I mean by avoiding power tussle. Because as it is, we're going to get ourselves exhausted if we want to get involved in everything that happens. So determine which ones you want to get involved with. Have set rules to let everybody understand that it's okay to be hungry, tired, and all, but it's not okay to punch your siblings. It's not okay to shout at your siblings. It's not okay to do this or that. Make sure the rules are very clear. Make sure the rules are few. When we give children too many rules, we get them exhausted and they get overwhelmed and they don't even know what to do and what not to do. And when we make this very clear, let's also ensure to have consequences in place that will be discussed and pre-agreed that, okay, if you do this, this is what will happen. And these consequences must be things that we are going to ensure that we carry out. They mustn't be threats. They mustn't be things that are just meant to cause pain or discomfort. They must be things that would help our children to learn or to do something better or to improve in their own connection with their creator. So when we have this set in place, as this events unfold, as these things happen, we must remember to be calm. And, you know, one thing I've found very useful is doing breathing exercises. And these things work. They work. So you want to get one mode of relaxation activity or the other for yourself, so that when these things happen, you will remember to execute as planned. Because what we find ourselves doing as parents is, even when we've planned it, but the moment it happens, that spur of the moment, shouting, if you're used to shouting or hitting them or doing something that is not just not good for them, it's also not good for you. You just realize you find yourself going back, and then at the end of the day, you feel, oh, it just can't walk. There's just no way to get a way to be calm with these children. But that's not the case. So we have to do something that would help us to sort of rehearse these things and develop a kind of coping mechanism that helps us to relax, so that the moment it happens, the first thing you want to do, even before saying anything, is you just want to keep calm and then say, okay, so what did we discuss earlier? And what did we agree would happen whenever someone does this? So you've just done this now. What should you have done differently? And then you have to face the consequences. And this has to be done in a calm way, because the children are also learning how to be calm with their own emotions. They're also learning how to take charge of their emotions. And that is the very essence of Ramadan, to help us with self-discipline, to help us with God consciousness. And I pray Allah makes this easy for us. I think there's a glitch. Can anyone hear me?
Yes, I can.
Okay, it seems like it's just two of us in the house. I'm not sure. I think
I'm here.
so maybe you
I'm
want
here
to oh, great. Okay. I don't know if anybody else will just had one or two things to helping to deal with tantrums in Ramadan. Wa alaikum salam rahmatullah.
Assalamu alaikum.
Wa alaikum salam rahmatullah.
It sounds
You can go ahead.
Can you hear me, please? Rafi Asani. Hello?
Yes, we can hear you. Yes, okay. We can hear you, ma'am.
We can hear you.
I'm expecting another question.
We're expecting your contribution.
Okay.
Yes, we're expecting your contribution regarding how to deal with children, tantrums, or lashing out on their siblings, etc. during the fasting.
Alhamdulillah. I think one of the most important things to do is to keep everyone in the house busy. As little as they are, we need to keep them busy. One of the hadith of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam says that you play with your children from age 0 to 7. You teach them from age 7 to 14. Then you instruct them from age 14 to 21. If we put all these three into consideration, we'll be able to handle children in the house according to their ages. Number 2, time management is very, very important in Islam. Let us teach our children that they need to manage their time. A second in their life must not be wasted. As a result of this, we need to have timetable for whatever they want to do in the house, and that they should keep to the timetable. For instance, if you find out that they are always quarreling, they are always fighting, why don't you find something for them like quiz on Quran, quiz on Hadith, quiz on Islam generally, more especially those that are usually on paper. Let them arrange among themselves. Let one of them be the leader to moderate whatever activity they are doing in the house. If they are able to hold on to this, number 1, it will settle a lot of quarrel among them. Number 2, it will prepare them for the future as Muslims, because as they go about with the quiz competition on various aspects of Islam, they continue to learn, and there will be less trouble in the house. Now the one that is the eldest among them, that is made as a moderator, we now have that kind of idea of a leadership, of a leader in the house. And through that, we'll be learning leadership traits through these activities in the house. And you as a mother, you need to keep them busy with assignments, maybe from school, even by yourselves. It could be part of the house activities, the day-to-day activities that you do in the home. For instance, here in Nigeria, when we buy our beans, it's always full of sharks. Why not keep some of them busy? Tell them to sort out. And that, they spend a lot of time in doing that. And that one, we bring them away from any other trouble in the house. Then as I was saying at the beginning of my speech the other time, I said that we need to let our children know that if there is any situation at hand, they need to make sure we need to have a meeting on how to go about it, on how to do it. We cannot just be asking them to do this, do that, without involving them in whatever activities we want to do in the home. If they are part of the meal table, when I say meal table, in many houses, they just wake up, Daddy, what will you eat in the morning? What will you eat for iftar? It shouldn't be that. Let Daddy, Mommy, and all the children in the house sit together, have a menu table. That one too will reduce the stress of the mother, thinking every day of what you are going to eat in the morning, what you are going to eat in the afternoon. Once we sit together as a family and say, on Monday, you are taking pap, you are taking my, what about the fruit that will go along with it? When you have this, you paste it in your kitchen. You ask one of the children to be in charge of that. You ask one of the children to be in charge of Adan. You ask one of the children to be the one that will be waking everybody. You tell them the reward. Right at the right time, you will have your full reward as a Muslim. If we are able to involve our children in this kind of things, we are directly or indirectly teaching them their roles as Muslims and how to go about it when they are a little bit older than that. And if there is any quarrel in the house, we as mothers or fathers, let us go into the pages of the Quran and the Hadith and look for Hadith or Quranic verses that has to do about such things. You bring them out to your children, you tell them, if there is a quarrel like this was the way that the Prophet ﷺ settled it among the Sahabas. I could remember there was a day in one of the Hadiths, we were told that somebody was insulting Sayyidina Abu Bakr. The person was insulting him, using vulgar language on him. Then Sayyidina Ali kept quiet, looking at the person. The Prophet was among them. He didn't say anything. But by the time Sayyidina Abu Bakr was to answer back, the moment he said a word to answer the person back, the Prophet turned his face and was about to leave their gathering. Then Sayyidina Abu Bakr asked the Prophet, when this man was insulting me and abusing me, talking to me anyhow, you did not talk. Why is it now that I wanted to reply him that you now turned your face? Then the Prophet told him that the moment when that man was talking, the angels were with them. But the moment Sayyidina Abu Bakr wanted to reply the man, the angels left their gathering. And that was why the Prophet turned his face. All these kind of little stories, when we use them to settle quarrels among our children, they will go a long way in training their minds and in bringing them to the path of Islam. And even when they grow older, they will remember those instances and they will be able to correct themselves. Alhamdulillah Rabbil Alameen. In Ramadan, we have a lot of blessings to go home with, and we should focus on these blessings, and we should not distract ourselves with unnecessary things that will take us from the path of Al-Islam. As mothers, we need to read and read and read in order to do what? In order to educate ourselves about our roles as mothers. We have two distinct roles in Islam. We have the gender role, we have the spiritual role. The two must go pari passu.
Thank you very much, Ma. That was very detailed, and I hope that everyone was paying attention and pray that Allah makes it useful. So we're going to go with the last round of questions, starting with Sister Sumaya. Sis, so we've been talking about stress, and we probably have a different picture. All of us have different pictures of what stress and anxiety is in the home. Is she here?
I'm here.
Can
I'm here. I can hear. I can hear you. I'm here. I'm here. We can hear you. Mutia. I can hear you.
Okay. So that's the last question for the day. About what does stress and anxiety looks like in the home, particularly during Ramadan.
Okay.
Because a lot of us look at stress and anxiety from a personal perspective of I'm stressed, I am anxious, this thing is giving me anxiety. However, as a family, as a home, we could be stressed together and be in a situation where we're dealing with a lot of anxiety, and we may not even recognize that that's what the problem is. So what does it look like, and how can we deal with it?
Okay. I'm quite aware that we don't have a lot of time, but what's important is always about, inshallah, may Allah put barakah in our time together. Every bit we say to have the necessary impact. Stress and anxiety is something that I think in different parts of what we've discussed on the panel today, we've alluded to it, we've mentioned it, and a lot to do with how we become quite elevated in our moods. So we might find ourselves particularly irritable, feeling very low, not really experiencing that high of Ramadan as we've anticipated, really struggling to connect with the purpose that we're in. And with the children, they can get particularly cranky. And Mrs. Balajabi was saying that as well. So just really quickly recognizing that it's a stressful time. And one of the most important things is to make things easy for us, because Islam is not a religion that puts burdens on us, but it does challenge us and it encourages us to stretch ourselves. And this is the best month to do that. So one of the most important things to keep in mind is, for our children, we need to do what is age appropriate to them. We need to ease some of our expectations with regards to what we want them to do. Fasting is not compulsory on children until about 10, and even that, you still need to look at your child. Secondly, it's important to understand that it's something we want them to associate with goodness. So we don't want them to feel so stressed that it's compulsory. So somebody fasted yesterday, they want to eat today, and we start to shame them. Another thing that is really important, just to finish up so other people can have a turn as well, is really to allow us to recognize that this is a period that we want to think about in two ways. We can say that it's a deprivation, but it's more of a time for restraint, a time for reflection, a time for resilience, a time for a lot of rewards. May Allah grant us many more of it. May Allah make it easy for us. I'm just going to give the mic back to Mutia now, and I hope that inshallah the few key things that we've mentioned today that we will find meaning in.
Inshallah. Jazakallah Jobi. Is she still here? Sister Hamza, are they still here? Please, parting shot from you. Is this everybody here now? Okay.
Okay, parting shots from me. I just want to remind us, dear sisters, that
Yes,
Allah
we
is
are.
always there for us, and He has not placed on us a burden beyond that which we can carry. We shouldn't try to be that superwoman. We shouldn't be. We should be realistic in our goal setting for Ramadan. We should try to take it easy. We should remember that the most rewarding acts are those that are consistent, however little. So let's start small and build the momentum as we move on, rather than starting with this very high energy that just wanes before it's even halfway. And we pray Allah eases our fears and makes it a most rewarding one for us, inshallah. Assalamu alaikum.
Alaikum salam. Wa alaikum salam. Please, can somebody else pick it up from there? Can we have the area view of the room, please? And let's keep it that way till we end this. Thank you. Okay, so Aja Hamza, please go ahead. Your parting shot.
Okay, so basically what I would say is a mindful arrival is very, a mindful arrival. You need to sit with your heart, you need to sit with your mind, you need to sit with your body and prepare going in for ibadah. So ask yourself, what is the objective of Ramadan? Objective of Ramadan, what does Allah want from me? So it's about cultivating mindfulness of Allah, cleaning the heart, developing taqwa, strengthening the relationship with Allah, spiritual development, enhancement, because Shaitan has been locked up for us to be able to achieve this. So inshallah, just tell yourself that. Then also remember that Ramadan is called Shahrul Sabr. It's the month of patience, so condition your mind and prepare for it, and for the task ahead. It's only for a month, so we need to talk to ourselves and tell ourselves, that, we have to be patient with the children, with the responsibility that Allah has given us, of the children, and then with patience with humanity, patience with iftar, with sahur, and all that. So tell yourself, I am going to be patient, and then also tell yourself, you will definitely be exhausted, but you have to be exhausted with the right things, So what are you doing? You need to be exhausted with remembrance of Allah, worship of Allah, your duty on this earth. Our obligation is not just to cook, to clean, to decorate, to dress up, This is all part of the dunya. And it's all about life, but our obligation is to remember Allah as much as we can, in discharging our duties and responsibilities as Muslims and as parents in this situation. And then as best as you can, just like my sisters have said, carry the children along, It depends. Are they young, before the age of 7? They're a lot more difficult to handle. So tell yourself that this is what will happen and see where is likely to bring you more stress. So try to get somebody, try to find help and see who can help you with those times, just a couple of hours that that stress will happen or will occur. If the children are older, alhamdulillah, carry them along, sit down, create a routine for them, discuss with them, agree with them before you enter and say, okay, this is what is going to happen. We're going to enter the month of Ramadan. Mommy will require that you're patient with her. Mommy will require that you need to sit down and if you want to fast, we'll support you and do as best as you can. If this is happening, this is what you need to do, and stuff like that. So have an agreement with the children before going in. Very, very important. And you put it up so that even when it occurs, you can always make reference to it and then they will remember. Very, very important. And then also do not forget the power of intention. Honestly, anything you're doing, even if you're resting, anything you're doing, use that intention very well. Convert every single thing you're doing. If it's listening to the Quran, anything, if it's helping the child, if it's cleaning the child, if it's feeding the child, convert it, into great acts of ibadah to make it heavy on your scale. Yeah, this is what I'll say. And I wish everybody the best.
MashaAllah, Jazakumullah khairan for the advice, carry the children along and all of that. Okay, so I believe that brings us to the end of this panel, and a lot has been shared. Oh, Aja Soni, your parting shots, ma. Can you hear me, ma? Please go ahead with your last word for our audience.
I said we should all be models for the righteous. We should be models for the righteous. We should do things accordingly.
MashaAllah, alhamdulillah, jazakallah khairan with our children. May Allah bless and keep them upon the path of righteousness all the days of their lives for us. May it ease our tasks as their parents and make them a blessing and the coolness of our eyes in this life and the akhirah. Thank you so much for joining us for this panel. But this is not the end of the day, so we're going to take a long break for Juma and come back for the keynote address at 5 p.m. So do join us after Asri for the keynote address. We've got all the big names, so you understand. We have a lot of people bringing sense and very, very valuable resources that we pray that Allah make beneficial for all of us in this life and the akhirah. May Allah keep us to Ramadan. And this is it. This is the end. I will hopefully see you tomorrow morning for the interlude to give you a lowdown of all what to expect throughout tomorrow. The conference continues at 5 p.m. and we keep running into Sunday. Please go invite all your friends. The link we're on YouTube and Facebook, and the more the merrier. Thank you for joining. Have a nice day. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Oh, the keynote address is at 4 p.m. Okay, so yeah, for 5 p.m. on my guide. So the keynote address is at 4 p.m. 4 p.m. 4 p.m. It's actually in Lagos at that time though, but I guess the Bounty Ramadan is global. So we have speakers. We have international speakers this year. So do join us at 4 p.m. Remember to say your salah before coming. And I pray that Allah keep us till and beyond then. That's it from me. My name is Mutiat Olaguki. Take care of yourselves. Be good. Assalamu alaikum.
All Muslims have to do 5 things. Who knows what they are?
Shahada, Salah, Zakat, Saum, Hajj.
And do you know what these mean?
Testimony of faith, prayer, charity, fasting, pilgrimage.
دستورنا القرآن وديننا الإسلام أركانه جليلة دعائم الفضيلة ويا الشهادتان كعيدة إيمان وصوم والصلاة وحج والزكاة. Our guide is the Quran, our religion is Islam. 5 noble pillars upholding what is virtuous. To make the testimony is the basis of the faith, and the fast and the prayer, the pilgrimage and charity. دستورنا القرآن وديننا الإسلام أركانه جليلة دعائم الفضيلة ويا الشهادتان كعيدة إيمان والصوم والصلاة وحج والزكاة. Our guide is the Quran, our religion is Islam. 5 noble pillars